Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 28th episode of TFF Talks. I'm your host, Danny Cook, and this evening we have another great show lined up for you. But before we begin, as always, this show is sponsored by Classic 11 Shirts and brought to you by Crofer Media. All links, as always, there we go again, as always, in the description below. And if you're watching live tonight, please do send in your questions and views to us via either the YouTube chat section or to us via Twitter at @officialTFF. And we plan to read these out later on in the show. Don't forget, you can catch up on all the previous shows, including yesterday's Football League special by our very own Max, which is now available on Audio Boom. So once tonight's show is done and dusted, please do check out yesterday's show and the previous ones as well. I'm sure you'll like. Anyway, this evening I am joined by our main man, Max Hayes, who's back once again. He's a Nottingham Forest fan and football vlogger who owns Matchday with Max on YouTube and is part of the TFF team and runs the TFF Instagram. Wow, you're a busy man.
Hello, Danny. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Just a bit croaky. Got a bit of a croaky voice.
Yeah, I think we were saying just before we went on air, you and I are sharing that trait this evening by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hope we don't. Let's hope we can get through tonight. Let's hope it goes smoothly. We'll wait a second.
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, let's bring in our second panelist for tonight's show, Ben Jones, who's a Peterborough United fan and joint manager of TFF, as well as, well, I don't know, are you still a Gary Rowett enthusiast?
Yeah, you know what? Why not? I'm a bit gutted Birmingham didn't go down. They deserved it for what they did to him. But yeah, he's an alright guy.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll go on to discuss Birmingham and the Football League. That's on the things to do list. But let's bring in SA as well, who's part of our TFF team. I don't know if he's actually there. I think there's a bit of feedback going on. SA, you there? Okay, I think I faintly heard him there. No, I must be hearing things. SA, my man, you might want to drop out and just pop back in whenever you can. SA is he's been on a few shows now. He's a very, very nice guy, and I can't wait to bring him back on. So just drop out and come back in, and hopefully our technical issues will be solved. Max, as you said yesterday and in the previous show, it's not a TFF Talks without some technical issues, is it?
Oh God, no. We had about 3, including myself yesterday. So yeah, but it's always funny because we always seem to get a few technical issues.
Yeah, they always seem to happen. But nevertheless, we have a show to put on. So I guess I should sort of start off tonight's show by sort of explaining myself. It sounds as though I've done something bad, but I suppose I better explain.
Life story.
Yeah, life story time before we begin. Basically, I mean, some of these guys, like Max, he went to, obviously, the Forest game and got to see football firsthand this weekend. I done something a little bit different to what I normally do. I went to the golf sixes, which I believe was held at Centurion Golf Club near St Albans. Very good event. Very, very good event. I don't know if you guys got to see that at all. But it is... have you heard it at all, Max?
No, don't ask me about golf because I'm not a big golf fan.
I'm not a big golf fan either. Essentially, what it is was... it's basically like the 2020 version of cricket, but of golf.
Okay.
So you had 6 holes, a couple of them with different variety. One was like a timed hole. One was a closest to the pinhole, and it was really good. It was meant to aim at the younger audience. So no, it's really good. Well, anyway, this point I've got to explain is I've unfortunately or fortunately I've had a fantastic weekend, but I haven't had the chance to see much football, so I'm really relying on your views tonight to gauge whether the team's done well or whether they didn't. So I'm looking forward to hearing that. And actually, this brings me on to the first point. Just as one of the finalists in this competition yesterday were teeing off, there was typically the spectators would shout a few things, right? One of them was like get in the hole, and mashed potato was an interesting one. But obviously, it isn't a sporting event without the calls of Wenger out. So on to the first point of this evening, and hopefully SA is here to bless us with his views. SA shouts of Wenger out at the golf, as I explained yesterday, prior to their win against United, which I believe is their first ever against Mourinho, or his first ever against Mourinho. If this is the case, just how big of a win is this for Wenger and for Arsenal?
Well, for Arsenal, it's just another 3 points, really.
Yep.
And what about the top 4 aspirations?
Go on. Sorry.
Top 4 aspirations, but I don't see it happening.
Okay. Let's bring. Go on. Sorry, we're having some connection issues. Carry on, SA.
Yeah, I was going to say, as for Wenger, I think he'll mean a bit more, seeing that he has never beaten Jose Mourinho.
Do you feel that, SA, do you feel that as a manager, and an experienced manager such as Arsene Wenger, would he have that mental block of not beating Mourinho?
He knows what goes on in the mind of Arsene Wenger, to be honest. I think that would have been a mental block. And now he's got that monkey off his back, so...
Okay. Well, you mentioned the monkey off his back. Let's bring in Max. Max, well, obviously Arsenal got their win. Do you think Arsenal's pleased he's got that monkey off his back, as SA says?
Yeah, I think he'll be pleased to obviously win against Mourinho. Puts a bit of pressure off him, obviously, with the continuing Wenger out situation. Talking of Wenger out, when I pitch invaded on Saturday when Forest stayed up, there was a clown with a Wenger out banner. So that surprised me a bit. But yeah, like SA says, I think he has got him off his back. I think it's just put a bit of pressure off him for now.
Yeah, and it seems like, I don't know, every TFF Talks, we pretty much are talking about Wenger at some point, maybe minus yesterday, Max. Just how long can this go on for?
Oh, it's just one of those. It's one of those topics where it's always brought up. I listen to all the football podcasts, and it's obviously brought up there and brought up in ours too. But I think it's got to end sometime soon, because I mean it's just boring hearing it over and over again. I'd rather him just stay and it all quieten down, or he left and then it all quieten down as well. So I just want it to go.
Okay. Let's bring in Ben Jones. I know he's dying to get in on this one. Ben, obviously Max has just mentioned this clown. Am I right in thinking it was a clown, Max? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this Wenger out campaign has literally gone everywhere. I think I've seen American broadcasts of nothing to do with sports, but Wenger out there. Ben, what do you think? It's sort of incredible that it's got that much coverage.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, I was lucky enough to be at the Newport game on Saturday, so I was there to like witness the Great Escape, and yeah, again
Was there one there?
Yeah, there was.
Oh God!
There was a Wenger out banner down at Newport. Oh, it was brilliant. And one of my friends actually messaged me today. He was saying he was watching a news report. It was about like Jeremy Corbyn was out campaigning, and behind him, the man just pops up with a Wenger out banner. It's just, oh, it's crazy. It's just crazy. It's actually gone crazy. I'm not sure all of those are genuinely concerned about the cause. I think the cause is right. I do think Wenger should go, but it is now quite funny to just see how it's reached the whole nation, the whole world, really.
Yeah, and I suppose it's, well, for me anyway, it's coming across as one of those things. How far can it go around the world? It just seems to be popping up everywhere, doesn't it?
Sorry.
Go on. Yeah.
Well, I went to the races. Well, I didn't, but I saw loads of people went to the races in my hometown, and there was one there, and that was part of like there was only 300 people there, and someone had just popped one up again.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe how far it's gone. I suppose the big question, and this is a big question, but I mean, why do you feel the owners and Wenger in particular, Max, have sort of been very quiet about a potential new contract? Like, they haven't really said much.
Yeah. Obviously, Arsenal are in the FA Cup. They're obviously doing well in the FA Cup. They're obviously in the final, and I think, obviously, I think they're keeping it quiet to maybe hope it settles down, because if Wenger does lead Arsenal to win the FA Cup once again, it'll be an achievement, and it will all settle down, and the owners will just put a contract to pen to paper, and it should be all done in the summer. It's a difficult question to really answer, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I'm interested to find out SA's views as well. SA, why do you feel there's not been this sort of communication between club and fans yet?
I think it's just getting to that stage where when fans want an answer soon as possible, and for me, it's just really annoying as to why. Also, that thing about it calming down, it's not going to calm down. That there's a black and white answer. I see it.
Okay, so you don't think it's going to calm down whatsoever? Okay. What, in that sense, is there anything they could do to calm it down? So say if they do offer him a new contract, obviously you're still going to have the Wenger out brigade. But say if he does go, surely that brings the end of the Wenger out campaign, surely.
The only thing that will bring the Wenger out campaign to an end is if Arsene Wenger leaves. If Arsene Wenger stays for like the season, Champions League. But as an Arsenal fan, we know that's not going to happen.
Okay. So Ben, obviously going back to what we said and going back to the original point, and myself being at the golf and hearing these shouts of Wenger out, just how powerful is football then compared to other sports? Because I mean, you wouldn't go to surely you wouldn't hear anything at a football match saying McIlroy's out or something like that.
No, I mean, No, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just football is just the biggest game in this country, and it's. I think it's got to the stage now where all these Wenger out banners, the people holding them up, they're not Arsenal fans. I don't think they're even genuinely interested if Wenger stays or goes. It's just become such a campaign now. It's actually become like a non-football campaign, really. I think people just don't even understand who Wenger is, just holding up Wenger out banners just because that's the thing to do. And I think football is the only really sport, certainly in this country, that has that kind of power. So it's just an example of just how big the game is in this country.
Would you argue that it's one of those viral trends? We've had the Harlem Shake. I'm trying to think of some of the other ones as well. Harlem Shake, the mannequin challenge. Is it the hashtag Wenger out?
Dabbing.
The dabbing.
Oh,
And now Wenger out is going part of the viral trend.
I think so. I mean, yeah, there is a genuine cause. So there is like a core group of Arsenal fans who genuinely think he does need to leave. But it has also grown from that, and kind of, I don't know. I think the campaign's kind of ended up losing its seriousness because of it. It has become kind of like a bit of a joke, particularly to non-Arsenal fans. So there is a core message there. Like there is a core fans who genuinely want him out, but it's grown from that, and it's become probably not even their intention, but it has grown it from that.
Okay, and again, let's bring in SA. SA, as an Arsenal fan, do you agree that these non-Arsenal fans are just jumping on the bandwagon?
I just find the whole thing hilarious, to be honest. I don't mind really, but me as an Arsenal fan though, it's just funny to see how the Wenger out movement has taken off. I mean, like, it's not even a protest anymore. It's a phenomenon.
There we go. It's a phenomenon. Phenomena. If I can't say my words. Okay, well, what we will do, we'll leave it there for Arsene Wenger for now. He can go to bed happy and knowing that we're not going any further on that for now. But those who are watching live, yes, send in if you have any Wenger questions or thoughts on the Wenger out brigade, please do send them in. But for now, we shall move on. And we go to the fantastic Fraser Forster Max, who came to the rescue for the Saints yesterday. Yeah. I believe he hasn't conceded a goal against Liverpool this season, which is a very good stat. And I suppose the question is he close to being England's number one anytime soon?
I think he's a fantastic keeper. I watch a lot of games. I watch a lot of Southampton games, and I always think he's got a lot of potential. And I think in the next year or so, he could be England's number one, because I think he's getting better than your likes of Joe Hart's and Jack Butland's. I mean, just that save when he saved Liverpool's penalty shows. I think his passion, his determination, and his really footballing skills. And I'd love to see him in an England shirt sometime soon.
And well, I mean, by the way you sort of described the save, I take it you must have seen the penalty as such. And
I didn't watch the match.
But you saw the highlights.
I saw some highlights on YouTube.
Yeah. For someone who didn't see the match and has not seen the highlights, how would you further describe that? Was it just like was it straight at him? Did he make a diving save to his top left? I mean, whereabouts was it? Was it a poor penalty or?
I've seen a few saves this weekend. Obviously, when Forest had a penalty and that got saved by the Ipswich keeper, which was a fantastic save. This one to me was a fantastic save, and I think if I was a keeper, and I think obviously they don't reveal this, but I think you've just got to guess which way to go. you've got to take the risk. Is it in the middle? Is it left? Or is it obviously right? And I think it could have been luck, but if it was luck, it was still a great save. And like you say, I didn't think it was the best penalty as well.
That's interesting, especially from James Milner. I don't think he's missed one for like, it was either 15 years or 15 attempts. He's not missed. I would imagine it's got to be attempts, surely, but no, clearly a good save then, by the sounds of it, for Fraser Forster. But let's bring in Ben. Ben, we're obviously still talking Fraser Forster, and as Max has sort of already highlighted, Joe Hart being another name. In that case, because they're sort of the similar sort of age, was he sort of unlucky to emerge at the same time as, say, Joe Hart?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I'm not really confident I can see him being England's number one anytime soon. I mean, Joe Hart's had the toughest season of his career to date. He had a poor Euros. He was transferred he was sent away by Man City. He's not been doing too well in Italy, and yet still the England managers have stuck faith with Joe Hart in goal. So I think if Forster hasn't broke through now, he's got Butland coming back through from injury. When he gets up, because he was performing brilliantly, arguably he should have played ahead of Joe Hart even before the injury. Pickford's up and coming. He's been performing. He's been performing really well. Should have been in PFA Team of the Year, in my opinion. And then you've got Forster, who's similar age as Hart. And when Forster's been the only real backup to Hart, and Hart's been playing quite poorly, and if Hart gets a new club next season and starts playing well, Forster's not going to get in either. So I can't really see him making his breakthrough in the England squad, unfortunately. And that's not a slight on his quality. That's just the keepers around them and the timing. It was unlucky to come out at the same time as Joe Hart, and he's got some young keepers who are nearly as good as him, but are considerably younger. And I think they're probably going to overtake him as well. So it is tough with the goalkeeping position, especially for a national team. You can only pick one. But yeah, Forster's a good keeper who probably does deserve to be England number one. He probably has the quality to be. But at the same time, there is arguably 3 goalkeepers that can do a better job than him, and that's just unlucky on his part.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just thinking back to a couple of years ago. There was obviously this very high turnover of goalkeepers at one point. I don't know if you can remember, Ben. It was like Scott Carson was there. We had Paul Robinson.
Green.
Yeah, we just sort of rattled through them. So yeah, I suppose it's sort of catching up now potentially with Pickford and the likes of Butland coming through.
Yeah, it's like that. I mean, if Forster was around in that era, he would have been England's number one. But he's just now in an era where we've got the likes of Pickford and Butland coming through, and they're probably just going to squeeze him out of the squad, to be honest.
Yeah. So again, let's bring in SA. Is it hard? Because obviously Ben has mentioned the fact that there's only one place on the pitch for a goalkeeper. So unlike a defender, you can't just sort of you don't play with someone. You can't just sort of hope that one of the 4 gets an injury and you get lucky. You're sort of relying on one person. So in that case, is it hard for an emerging goalkeeper to gain an international reputation?
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Because say for instance, I mean, find it hard to come through at Spain because of Iker Casillas and all. It's difficult. I mean, he's struggled for time at Spain, as has Victor Valdez for himself. But other than that, goalkeepers do generally have a harder time.
Yeah, And again, you mentioned the Spain situation, which is actually quite, I suppose, similar. I don't know if you guys would agree, but yeah, I mean, you got obviously De Gea, Casillas, I think Valdez at one point as well. So
yeah, I mean, like even now, when you've got the situation with Germany, you've got Manuel Neuer, Bernd Leno,
Ter Stegen as well, isn't it? Ter Stegen,
and Kevin Trapp. So you've got those four goalkeepers who are the goalkeepers for Bayern Munich, PSG, Barcelona, and one of the best young keepers in the world. One of those can't even make it into the Germany squad because there's only 3 spaces. So that's just how tough it is to be a goalkeeper sometimes.
Yeah. I have interest. If you was to pick a position on the pitch now, where would you play? Would you play in goal, Ben?
No, but fancy myself as a bit of a fullback, you know.
You're a fullback, okay. Any goalkeepers between SA and Max at all?
To be fair, in your school days, being in goal is one of the worst positions you can be in. If you're a goalkeeper, it's basically implying you're not good in any other position. One of those positions where you have to eventually.
I don't know if I just heard that right. It was like, did you just say like you have to invent a position, invent your own, because you're a goalkeeper?
Not quite. Goalkeeper is one of the positions that you have to evolve into.
Ah, okay. Sorry, it must have just cut. It just cut out when you said in. I thought it said invent. But go on then, Max. I know you're dying to go.
Can I say like a keeper I'd like to? I think's like good or.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah. And then we'll move on after this. Yeah.
Yeah. Not because I'm biased or anything. Obviously, I'm gonna. I'm gonna talk about Forest. We've had Stephen Henderson injured, which was about halfway through the season. He was a fantastic keeper, about 28 years old, and young keeper, 19 years old, Jordan Smith came in. You probably didn't see it yesterday when we played Ipswich. In about the first 10 minutes, he pulled off a remarkable save, tipped it over onto the bar, which was a fantastic shot from, I think it was, I'm not sure, I think it was just from it was from the Ipswich striker. Fantastic shot, fantastic save, and he now plays for the under-21s England, and I think in a few years, if he stays at Forest and gets better, he'll go to a big club in the Premier League, and he could have a chance of being something like an England keeper, because he's a fantastic keeper, and there's lots of Championship keepers that show great potential.
Yeah, and just talking about former English goalkeepers, and you talking about the Forest goalkeeper, say he was to leave, would you be interested in John Ruddy?
Yeah. That's a difficult one, that. He plays for Norwich, doesn't he?
His contract is up. He played his last game. He's being released, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because obviously Mark Warburton now, I think he wants to keep Jordan Smith as goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And I don't think Forest, I'd like him, but I don't think Forest would want a keeper, maybe. But we've got a young Spanish keeper now named Dimitar Eftimov. He's on the bench.
Wow, what a name. Say that again. Dimitar Eftimov.
Dimitar Eftimov.
Eftimov. Ooh, nice.
Eftimov. I know, yeah, nice name. And he's kind of missed out. And he's been very unfortunate because when Henderson got injured, if Jordan Smith wasn't there, Eftimov would have got in, but because Eftimov wasn't there, he was actually on loan at Mansfield Town, had a month's loan there. And I think he's frustrated with himself because he would have been first team keeper and maybe Jordan Smith on the bench. And obviously Forest didn't recall him. He's a fantastic keeper as well. I've been to a few training days at Forest. I've been invited down and seen them. And he's another fantastic keeper in the Championship.
Yeah, there's certainly a few good ones there. Anyway, we've got to move on now. I'm a little bit wary of time. To anyone watching in, please don't forget to send in your questions and views. We will read them out in a little while. We'll talk to Wenger and Fraser Forster so far. Let's talk about Swansea, who picked up a week. Swansea, who picked up a vital win against Arsenal. I don't know where week came from. In hindsight, then, Ben, was Swansea right to sack Bob Bradley?
Absolutely, and I wouldn't even say there's a need for in hindsight. At the time, they just weren't going anywhere under Bradley. The results weren't going their way. I think, credit to this. He wasn't there a massive amount of time, but I think credit to the Swansea owners because they cut it off before they allowed it to get worse. Maybe they could see Bradley wasn't having an effect on the players. They could see there was no confidence in the squad. They could see that the trajectory was only going to be down for them. So they decided not to let it prolong, not to let them get into a situation where it couldn't be salvaged. So they made the call and brought in Paul Clement, and he's done pretty well. I mean, he started off brilliantly. They had a little dip, but there's 2 games left now, and the fate's in their own hands. And that was a massive, massive result against Everton because they've now put their fate back in their own hands, and they're playing Sunderland next week. Obviously, as Hull showed, that it can be tricky, but at this stage of the season, you have to fancy yourself to go and beat bottom of the league. So, and if Hull don't get the 3 points, they could end up being safe with a win against Sunderland. So that's all they could ask for at the minute.
Yeah, and one word that seems to come to mind about that decision was brave, very brave. Say you're a Swansea supporter, Ben. If they actually managed to get relegated as a result of that, admittedly, if they did now, I would still say performances have been very good compared to what they were. But would you, based on results, be one of them supporters that'd be like balled out and #balled out and all that?
No, I mean, I think when their new board came into Swansea, they were very open and they said basically we don't know anything about football, which was an interesting move. And because they're Americans, they don't really know. They admit themselves they don't know much about the game. It was brave to come and say that, and I think that showed in their appointment of Bradley. Obviously, I have no doubt that if Bradley was any other nationality other than American, he wouldn't have got appointed. So they learned from that mistake. They did invest in the likes of like Fernando Llorente, and they're good players. So the squad is there. It's a good squad. They seem to be learning from their mistakes. It's not. I think if they went down, it's not a case of everything needs ripping up. I certainly wouldn't be saying board out, Clement out. And if they do go down, keeping Paul Clement should be their first priority, in my opinion. Just keep stability, add a few players, and then try and go back up again if they were to go down, which I don't think they will do anyway. But yeah, It's not. Yeah, they don't need to rip everything up.
Let's bring in Max. Max, what's your thoughts?
Sorry, Danny, I've been having problems. Can you repeat the topic?
Okay, the topic is Swansea. Just talking about what's his name? I've lost his name. Paul Clement. That's the one.
Oh, yeah.
We're just talking about his sort of spell and the fact that at the moment they seem to be going in the right direction. So, do you feel if they went down, it would be a case of balled out and all that, or would they be quite supportive?
I think they'll be quite supportive. We look at Paul Clement's track record. Obviously, manager at Derby, didn't do very well there. So I think if Swansea did go down, it'd be all right.
Okay. And again, we're going to bring in Essay. Essay, what's your thoughts on Swansea?
Hello?
Hello, Essay? You there?
Yeah, sorry. That hook.
Yeah, no, that's fine. What's your thoughts on the whole Swansea situation? Obviously, we've got Paul Clement, who's doing a decent job at the moment. But as I was just saying to Max, if they were to go down, do you think the club's fans would be supportive, or would they be balled out?
If Swansea were to go down, I think that would be supportive. Also, Clement has to stay if the guy just actually, because Duncombe's experience at Real Madrid, I think down he'll do the job. Voted.
Okay, we're going to move on now. We've talked Swansea. Let's talk about one team who could still be in a relegation battle. And of course, that team at the moment is Crystal Palace, who were hammered 5-0 at the Etihad on Saturday lunchtime. I don't know, do you play Fantasy League, Max? Have you got a fantasy team?
No, I don't do all that.
You don't do fantasy football? No. Ben, you must have a fantasy football team.
Yeah, no, I've got one, yeah.
You've got one. Well, I done I suppose a sin in that respect. I sort of forgot my team, and unfortunately, or fortunately, well, definitely unfortunately, I had my captaincy left on Benteke, and yeah, in hindsight,
Oh, nightmare.
not a great decision. Out of interest, who's your captain? Do you know?
Mine is Lukaku at the moment.
Lukaku. You see, that is normally my captain, but unfortunately, the previous week I'd gone with Benteke and just, as I say, just sort of forgot about it. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed he didn't bag, as I'm sure the Palace fans are as well. But Ben, do you think that? Well, I mean, this is a big could. But could they fall through the relegation trapdoor?
I don't think so. They've got 38 points, which doesn't mean they're automatically safe. But they've kind of let their guard down, which is disappointing. They've got to that 38-point mark, and they've kind of obviously the loss of Sacco is major for them. That they've really struggled in defence without him, which is fairly worrying considering a player's coming in January and has made himself so vital. But I think it would rely on Hull picking up 4 more points this season. And just looking at their fixtures, they've got Crystal Palace themselves next week, and they've got Tottenham on the last day. It's going to be difficult. I mean, yeah, if Swansea were to beat Sunderland and Hull were to beat Palace, they would be right in it. But
Yeah.
I can't see that events turning out to make them go down. I think they'll just be safe, but they shouldn't have let their guard down so much. They're not. Yeah, they're just about safe, like tiniest amount safe.
Yeah,
But
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah, 38 points tends to be sort of borderline safety. So yeah, I mean, what that game against Hull, is that at Hull? Do you know, or is that at Palace?
me have a check. It's at Palace.
Is that Palace? Oh, see
So
that
that is in their favour.
that's in their favour because Hull were very good. Had a very good home record until I think they played on Saturday, didn't they? They lost to Sunderland.
They lost Marcus Silva hasn't lost a home game in 3 years in management.
That's a crazy stat, isn't it?
Crazy stat. And it ended by Sunderland.
Yeah, a team that's already relegated. Very strange. But, okay. SA. I suppose. Let's hear your thoughts on Palace. Do you feel that? I tell you what. Here's a question for you. Do you feel that Palace would be better off now with Alan Pardew or with Sam Allardyce?
Because some people might be when Alan Pardew got sacked or leave. I can't remember.
Oh, I think it was around Christmas time. I think it was around that spell. I could be wrong. I'm hoping Ben's furiously typing away at his computer.
I am. I'm attempting to find out. But yeah, I do think you're right, Daddy. Christmas time does sound about right.
Yeah.
Go with that. Here we go. He was sacked as manager on the 22nd of December 2016.
Awesome. Good in, SA.
Okay, thanks for that. Changing the manager. Because you don't want a manager to make the season even worse than it already is. So the Crystal Palace board did make the right decision in hiring Sam Allardyce.
You still there, I say?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, there seems to be a sort of a delay between us. So I think I must have just missed your last few words there. So if you don't mind just repeating them very quickly, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I was just saying that Crystal Palace made the right decision in hiring Sam Allardyce.
Cool. We need to move on. Unfortunately, we are approaching the end of the show. So I sort of want to get on to a club that we need to cover in this program, and that club is Tottenham. And let's start with, you know what? Let's go back to SA on this. Tottenham obviously lost 1-0 on Friday. I'm sure you're pleased about that, SA. But many fans, many football fans, have taken to Twitter to label them as bottle jobs. But are they really bottle jobs, SA?
For the title, and they did that on Friday night, then yeah, bottle jobs. As to quote bottle jobs, I'm just quoting what Rachel Riley said. I'm just repeating what she said. So
fair enough.
Chelsea, also adding to that, Chelsea could do some serious damage by beating Middlesbrough tonight.
As in, that would extend their lead, wouldn't it? That would, obviously, but so you're saying serious damage. Is that damage more to Middlesbrough or is that more to Tottenham?
Both.
Both? Okay. Go on then, let's open it up to Max now. Max, Tottenham, as we say, lost apparent bottle jobs, social media says. What does Max say?
I don't think they're bottle jobs. I think they just put a bit of a rate on for the title. I've said in previous episodes, I don't think they're ready yet, but next season I've got a funny feeling it could be their year. Tottenham are a good side. I don't think they're bottle jobs, if I'm honest. I just think they put a bit of a race on, and everyone expected him to put more of a title race on, and they've obviously kind of threw that away. But I think that Tottenham is still a good team, and they've had a fantastic season. I'm sure they'll end on a high, and next season, if they get the right staff and players in the summer and build even more stability at the club, then in a few seasons or either next season, I think they could win the title.
And Ben, I would ask you, should Spurs be getting maybe some positive press rather than this bottle job label for their efforts this season?
I mean, it is a tough one because they have done well, but you can't hide from the fact they completely threw away second place last season. There's the question is, even if Tottenham had have won all the games, would they have beat Leicester to the title? Would they have beat Chelsea to the title? You could arguably say no, but you have to be concerned at the fact that Tottenham haven't been able to maintain those charges. They completely lost the heads against Chelsea. It was a poor result against West Brom last season, and now this time West Ham are not playing well. The London Stadium's not been a particularly difficult place for teams to go this season, and they turned up and they just didn't put in the performance required. I mean, they managed to get themselves up for Crystal Palace away, which you know is going to be a tough game. Managed to get themselves up for Arsenal, but at the latter stage of the season, when it comes to the games where you think they should win, they don't seem to turn up, and that is a concern. For all the positives, if you don't go and do the job, get over the line, you know, what's it all worth? So they won't want. There is progress there, but they won't want to. They won't be content about coming second or third every season. They need to start putting in a concerted effort to go push towards a title because they are good enough.
Okay. Unfortunately, that's going to bring us to the end of the Premier League segment. We are very fastly running out of time, as I said. So we're going to move on. I've got a couple of extra little topics to discuss. We're not going on to the Championship or Football League tonight. Max covered it fantastically yesterday. So please do check that out. But one of my points may, if we get onto it, discuss some Football League stuff. So don't worry, we're not done just yet. So let's move on to one of our other extra points now. Did you guys manage to see Jeff Sterling's professionalism after his side were relegated at the Football League? Yeah.
Such a shame.
Yeah, so Max, let's go to you first. Obviously, you're a young person aspiring to maybe one day be Jeff Sterling. I can see that. What's the feelings you get having seen that top guy just be so professional on air?
I actually watched the Hartlepool game, and obviously when Newport scored, it was such a shame, and I was very disappointed, not just for Jeff Stelling, because I know a few people that are Hartlepool fans, and they're overall just a quite historic club, so I didn't really want him to obviously drop out the Football League. His professionalism is fantastic. I mean, there was a class example a few years ago when Hartlepool won and he interrupted the live results, and then he let the live results carry on, came back and was just like that and professional. And he's someone for young people to look up to. And I think, and I really want Hartlepool to go back up because I think he kept his professionalism so well. And presented well, even obviously, because I'd be, if I was doing it, I'd be utterly disappointed. I said last night when I was doing the Football League special before to the lads, I said, if Forest actually got relegated today, I don't think I would have done the show, if I'm honest.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? It's very hard.
Very hard.
I suppose this is the thing, to anyone listening. If you don't do or don't cover, you don't get a chance to do this, say, and it's hard at times not to sort of favour one of your teams you follow. So I mean, Max will probably agree with me. With Forest, you obviously spend a lot of time following Forest. You want Forest to do well naturally, don't you?
Yeah, and it's really, really hard when I do YouTube videos, and obviously when we lose, you've got to talk fairly. You've got to give credit to to obviously the other team or around or whatever. But I think that's what anyone that does broadcasting, presenting. I mean, if we take you, Danny, obviously you're a Norwich fan. You're a Norwich fan, and obviously you talk for other clubs, and it's the exact same thing with me. So it is hard, but you've got to speak fairly, because that's what football journalism and broadcasting is all about, is to speak fairly about both sides. You support your club, but you also don't be biased, and you put views out there for anyone.
Bang on. Let's bring in Ben then. Ben, how professional was Jeff Stelling's performance then?
Yeah, it was. I didn't get to watch it live. I saw the
I saw the
highlights
clips,
video. Yeah. I mean, I want it clear I was at the Newport game, so that's why. That is why I couldn't watch it. Yeah. It was weird being in a situation where they scored an 89th minute winner and the whole stadium just went mental. And I don't know, I wasn't that excited about Newport staying up. I did feel a bit sorry for Hartlepool, for Jeff Stelling. So it was a bit weird because I couldn't stand there and just seem to be not that bothered as all these massive scenes went on. So that was interesting. But yeah, no, I did watch the videos. He was I mean, when we got relegated against Crystal Palace, we got relegated by a last-minute winner away at Crystal Palace in 2013. Oh, I was heartbroken for days. I was just so upset, and the way he managed to retain his composure after the news. So it's always worse when it's a late goal. It's not a time to sink in. It's so sudden. You think you're staying up, and then that just hits you like that. And to be fair to him, retaining his composure, it was a really good job.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, it was a very cruel sort of turnaround, because it looked as though they were staying up at one point, weren't it, Ben?
Yeah, and the thing is, Newport won in the game. I mean, Newport took the lead, then Notts County controlled the whole game after that. Notts County pushed forward. They got themselves an equaliser, and then it was all Notts County till the end of the game, till the 89th minute. Newport got a free kick, put it in the box. And it was a great takedown and shot, to be fair to them. And they took their one chance they had in the second half, and absolute pandemonium.
It was quite. Sorry for interrupting, boy. It was quite a good goal actually. So.
No, that's fine. It was a good goal. SA. Again, I mean, you can't help but admire Jeff Stelling's performance there, can you? Oh, I've got him on mute, that's why. Sorry. Got an SA, sorry, try again.
He's kind of a likable character, really. I think he's the sort of guy that actually knows how the fans feel and what the fans want. Although his professionalism maybe questions some, he's generally a professional guy.
Okay. So I think I just got the general gist again. Having some technical issues. I haven't got you on mute now, so that's not the technical issue this time.
Never a TFF Talks without.
No. So yeah, apologies for that. But Yeah, I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? And as I say, I was at the golf, and again, a slightly different sport, but just, I mean, in actual fact, you guys are the best people to talk to about this, especially like Max. You obviously
Yeah.
get to go to lots of Forest games. Um, Ben, you was obviously at that huge Newport County game. So yeah, I mean, it's these sort of moments in sport that sort of grab you, don't they? They just,
Yeah.
mm,
Oh, one of the best things I've ever seen happen at the pitch invasion, though. There was a man in a wheelchair. He only had one leg. When the final whistle went, he jumped up, he hopped onto the pitch, he was dancing in front of the stadium. It was like the best day of his life. And I saw his eyes, and I saw him not just hopping up and down in front of the terrace. I was like, this is what football is all about.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such a mad moment. I loved it, yeah.
Yes, sorry to interrupt again. But
no, you're fine. I know
yesterday-
you're going to talk about Forest. Go on in.
Yeah, yesterday when we pitch invaded, a lot of people said, "Oh, scenes as Forest move up to 20th, scenes as Forest stay up." Yeah, it was a terrible season, but you know what? We've got to celebrate at the end of it. It gives us something to cheer about. I'm glad we stayed up because I honestly thought we were going down. And to be honest, I just think that's what football's all about, and it was passion from the Forest fans, and we'd had an awful season, and I think it was just a kind of a relief from fans to stay up. So we talked about that last night on the Football League special as a bit of a extra topic, is about pitch invasion. Are they worth it? And we got a few mixed answers, but like Ben says, it's what football's all about.
Yeah, and actually, I had one question, and I've got it down. I'm glad you sort of brought that Forest invasion, pitch invasion up, because I had this question I desperately want to ask you. Do you sort of feel that pitch invasion was more relief rather than celebration of remaining in the league?
More relief, because I don't think anyone wants to celebrate. They've stayed up, to be honest. I think it was just relief. And I think it was kind of one of those games where the players were either going to go into it and do superb, or just, to be honest, like mess it up. And I was just glad the players performed, and I think everyone was. It showed passion when fans went on. The whole pitch was on. People from the Brian Clough stand right at the top, like 20 feet, were jumping down seats and climbing over all whatever is in their way to get on the pitch. And I think it was more of a relief, like I say. And it was the same for me. That's the reason why I went on. To be honest, if we had a good season, but then we'd slipped up, and like Birmingham, for example, and we'd just survived, I wouldn't have gone on the pitch. But I think it was just relief, and I'd never done a pitch invasion before, so I went, you know what, let's sneak under this police officer's arm and get on the pitch.
Well,
you only live once.
Yeah, you only live once. Actually, I was going to say, as a obviously a Norwich City fan, my side in particular don't tend to fare too well in relegation battles, so I can only imagine the relief. And I mean, I suppose there's got to be some elements of celebration because of how close you were to the trapdoor at one point. I think it's fantastic, and look, it's what football's about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's like Ben says, with that man with only one leg going on the pitch. He didn't care. He just wanted to go and celebrate.
Yeah, good on him. Good on him too. A couple other little points. We're really close to the end of the show, but I've just got to read these out. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Robson, I can't remember his second name now. I've lost his second name. I ain't spoke to him for a while, but our very own Robson, he's currently doing a charity bike ride, and I believe he's doing quite well as well. His Twitter handle is @Robson O'Riordan. So it's ROBSONOREARDON, and he has raised just over £1,000. So fantastic work there by Robson. If anyone listening in would like to donate to his cause, he's clearly doing very well so far, but I'm sure he'll want to do even better. The donation page is obviously at www.mydonate.bt.com/fundraisers/Robson O'Riordan. Again, his name is exactly the same as his Twitter handle. So yeah, go check that out, and I'm sure he'd really appreciate a generous donation. You know what? I'm going to go and check that out after we are done as well. And one more quick shout out, David Curti. I believe it's his birthday today, so I don't know if he's listening in.
It is.
It is his birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, David, who's done some great stuff for TFF. So thank you very much, David. And he's a regular on the show. Although I've not seen him for a while, so I need to see him soon, or speak to him soon. Sorry. But anyway, I think that brings us to the end of tonight's show. As I say, it's a little bit different with the Football League One done yesterday with Max. So well done to Max, and be sure to check that out once we are done here. But I suppose before we go off air, it's Twitter handle time. So we'll start with Max. What's your Twitter handle?
Max NFFC, Twitter, pretty much everything. And then I think I've mentioned it a few times, Matchday with Max on YouTube and Twitter as well. Go and check my latest video out. There's videos of the pitch invasion included in there. So if you're interested about that, go and check it out. Feedback is appreciated. So please go and do that, and it'd be really appreciated. But yeah, cheers.
Oh, fantastic. I will have to watch that pitch invasion. I've not got around to it. I've seen the screenshots of Sky. You're on that, aren't you?
I was when I went on the pitch, there was a camera and I went to go and hug Zach Clough, and I was on there, and then my dad went to go monkey scrub Britta Sambalonga, and he got on, he looked like a right muppet.
Okay, well, thanks, Max. SA?
No problem.
So my Twitter handle is @96OAYE.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, SA, and thanks for joining us this evening. So brilliant stuff, SA. Let's bring in Ben as well. Ben, complete the panel for me.
Okay, so it's @BennyBoy0702 on Twitter.
Fantastic. And mine is @DannyCook1996. You've been listening to another interesting episode of TFF Talks. So thank you very much to my panel. Thank you very much to anyone listening. And we shall catch you on another episode. So have a good evening and enjoy the week ahead. I'm sure there's some big football matches this week, isn't there? So we shall have to wait and see what happens in those. But in the meantime, you've of course been listening to TFF Talks, the 28th episode, which was brought to you by Crowford Media and sponsored by Classic 11 Shirts. Good night.